Hello guys and welcome once again to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Greg and once again I'll be going through my predicted lineup for Everton for this weekend's game against Leicester. I'm recording this on a Friday just after Marco Silva's press conference and it's been quite a big day in terms of news. Firstly, for the managerial sack race, two managers have had very different fates, both of which were sort of front runners for next to be sacked. That's Unai Emery, who was told this morning he was sacked, and Marco Silva, who was told this morning he'd be backed. Obviously, so he will be taking charge of the game this weekend and indefinitely. He has the backing of Marcel Brands and the board. Also, in terms of news, we've been given quite a big injury list from this press conference. Morgan Schneiderlin, Theo Walcott and Seamus Coleman are out. Fabian Delph still a big doubt. And saying this because we have to sort of look down the list of midfielders now to fill that void. Benny Beningame also looks to be out. He limped off for the under-23s in their last game. So that leaves us with a real conundrum in the midfield. And I sort of sympathise for Silva this week when your job's on the line like it is. You've got a sort of brief period to turn it round, and you've got that sort of injury list. You've got to feel that the odds are stacked against them at the moment, especially with the run of games we have in December. That being said, let's sort of look at where we can, imagine what Silva might be looking at, and go through position by position. So Jordan Pickford in goal, you're confident there. With Coleman out, Sidibe is sort of our only right back option, even though Coleman came on to replace him in the last game. That's the run of that sort of potential replacement happening. So Sidibe at right back. Mina and Holgate can stay the same as a centre back partnership, and Luca Dean at left back. I mean, for our sort of back line and goalkeeper, we stay relatively the same. Coleman obviously being the only difference in selection there, but Sidibe likely would have started anyway. And then we come to the real problem area of the midfield. Tom Davies has got himself essentially a free pass into that midfield at the moment. There is no one, no Gomez, no Schneiderlin, no Delph to sort of put him back on the back burner. So, Davies, show what you've got in this run, really. Whilst you've got some injuries around you, just make yourself irreplaceable in that team when those names start to come back. I think he needs to really show what he's got at the moment. So Davies will be one of the midfielders. And there's only two options I can really see of players will start next to him. One is this Roberto Martinez idea of Leighton Baines, coming into the CDM role. Sort of like Felipe Lahm did in the end of his career. He's got that versatility with both of his feet. We all know he plays a gorgeous, silky ball forward. He's a very sort of progressive left back, or was in his prime. So maybe those attributes could be well handled into central defensive midfield, and he could come alongside Davies. But I think what's much more likely is Gylfi Sigurdsson will be dropped back into the role he plays for Iceland, that more central midfield role. He does with success for Iceland, obviously, but he is sort of the star in that team. That being said, again, with it being Leicester we're playing, Gylfi Sigurdsson was playing that more defensive midfield role against Leicester last season when he scored that cracking goal and sort of had the last fantastic game he had for us. And that being said, with Sigurdsson now, that frees up the number 10 role for Iwobi to come back into the team, like he is so needed to in that number 10 position, because last week we looked slow and out of ideas without him. So with Iwobi coming back into number 10, we get that pace, creativity, and vision back in the squad there, and I think a lot of people will be happy about that. So with Iwobi at number 10, that means left mid is free for Bernard to come back. Apparently he is set to be fit for this game. So Bernard at left wing, that Digne-Bernard connection coming back. Let's hope that they can pick up where they left off. With Bernard being on the left, that means Richarlison's free to move back to his favoured right. Richarlison has just signed a contract extension as a sort of show of support in Marco Silva. Marco Silva and Richarlison have this inextricable link of manager and player, and by sort of saying, look, Richarlison's staying at the club, maybe it's we're sticking with this plan for the future we have with Silva and his players, and maybe it's more of a symbol than anything else. So Richarlison on the right, Bernard on the left, and up front, I can't imagine Tosin will keep his position after two quite bad starting performances, and a real lack of pace, especially with Sigurdsson and Schneiderlin being that spine behind him. But Tosin, I imagine, will drop out, and I think we'll see Calvert-Lewin come back into that number 9, with maybe an emphasis on Moise Kean becoming maybe the deputy for that. Maybe he'll actually get some game time as a substitute. That being said, Moise Kean might take the position on the left if Marco Silva decides Bernard's not quite fit yet. I know Marco Silva said he prefers to see Moise Kean in that role. He's played a couple of times for Italy on the left. So there's a couple of questions there. But I imagine Calvert-Lewin, I wouldn't call him a proven goal scorer, but maybe so far our most proven goal scorer of the season, will come back into that number 9. So the team reads like this: Jordan Pickford in goal, back line of Sidibe, Mina, Holgate and Digne. In the midfield, a more deep-lying Gylfi Sigurdsson and Tom Davies, number 10 Iwobi, and a front line of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Bernard. Let me know what you guys think about that. Firstly, what you think about Marco Silva being backed. Tell me what you think about the injury list, if you can see some sort of more young players coming up in this sort of time, this period where they're all injured, or whether you'd like to see just a bit more adaptation from players already in the lineup, like Sigurdsson dropping back or Moise Kean being forced out onto the left. What do you think about Leighton Baines coming in as a central defensive midfielder in the meantime? Does anyone sort of back that? Think that might be a good idea, worth a shot? And would you have Bernard back in the squad already? So let me know what you guys think about those points, and I will see you guys next time.